Can I be honest with you for a second? And I realize the irony of this is just super thick given where you're watching this and what my general job title is. I don't really like social media, but if I wasn't making content on it and sitting here talking to you people, I used to have time limits on social media. I'd say, oh, I'm only going to open Instagram twice today, right? Because you want to be able to keep up with your friends, but it also becomes this giant hellhole time sink full of toxic sludge that you're just wading through that's just clouding your mind. And then you're huffing toxic fumes all the time. Every time you open a reply section, it's just like, nightmare fuel all the way down for hours on end, doom scrolling your way into oblivion, right? I don't like social media necessarily. I like the ability to keep in touch and everything, but I don't like it. And I do think it's important to point out that it is new and people are all dealing with it in different ways. And one way in particular just happened, and I kind of love it. I actually kind of love it. But we're going to do a thought experiment because I want you to realize something. This is the first generation of high-level professional footballers, footballing superstars, the guys we all know that have had social media, that have had it their entire career, that are used to people are taking pictures of them, people are able to communicate with them directly all the time. And I want you to imagine some of the previous players, if that sort of thing had been available. If John Terry would have had an Instagram and would have had to deal with his personality type, the types of nonsense that people are able to throw at you on a daily basis if you have your own social media, that toxic sludge, that like tidal wave of doom and destruction and all these keyboard warriors, right? Just going towards John Terry. Would he have not said something, right? If Ronaldinho had an Instagram, for example, and was getting a lot of Instagram DMs, the same sorts of things that, let's say, Vinicius Jr. has had to deal with in recent years, would he not have issued a dramatic response or any number of particularly well-known for their personality former football stars, right? David Beckham in 2000. No, just kidding. He's like the most media-trained person on the planet. Sometimes you watch David Beckham talking and you'd swear you're watching some form of AI handle a question. It's amazing. But something happened very recently that I am tremendously excited about. Mykhailo Mudryk responded. Not in a disrespectful way, right? Not in a way that was full of vulgarity, in a way that returned essentially the same energy that he was receiving. But Chelsea winger Mykhailo Mudryk just responded to a random dude's Instagram DM. He's obviously not the first professional athlete to ever do this, but Mykhailo Mudryk is also in terrible form right now. They bought him for close to $100 million, and he has just not been playing well. And so he gets a DM that says, I quote, "What the fuck is going on with you? Did you forget how to play football? It's not good enough. Something needs to change. Maybe do some one-on-one sessions. Every time you play, we have one player less." Now, I want you to imagine, just for a second, right, that you are doing your job, whatever your job may be. No bad job. It's a job. Let's say that you are an accountant and you just replace these messages. Every time you accidentally type something wrong into the Excel sheet, you get 100 messages like this. That wears on you. It has to. It is impossible to imagine what it is like to be in that situation. And I personally know that it would bother me. It would absolutely bother me. I know it would bother me because I'm a YouTuber and I read the comments. So hi guys. But it would bother me. It does bother me every once in a while. I have a document. I'm not ashamed to say this. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I have a document that has a bunch of comments that I seriously disagree with, whether it be about my forehead being larger than it is. I know it's large, but it's not that large. Whether it be about me not being funny ever at all. Like I don't know. Certain comments that I happen to see that bothered me so much that I put them on a document called motivation. And anytime I'm lacking motivation to do something, or like, get out of bed or eat health, I don't know, I'll open the motivation document and be like, I've got to prove Steve 7189 wrong. Like that's how I have learned to handle it. Mudrik's dealing with that 100 times over. Every single time he messes up at his job, he gets a message like this from some dude whose profile picture looks like a Teletubby with a Union Jack tattooed to its shoulder. No, I mean, no offense to Fedor Sneaks, if that's the case. This is the Instagram account that this is being posted from. I don't even know if that's the person that sent the DM. The person that sent this DM might be jacked and wearing clothes that are 5 sizes too small. They could be one of those two, right? I don't know. But I would imagine that sort of thing adds to a frustration when you're a professional athlete that's drinking kale shakes all day and doing 4 hours of plyometric stretching. So Mykhailo Mudryk reads this, and I think provides an incredibly reasonable response. He actually responds and goes, "Come play me 1v1 for 10,000 pounds." He didn't drop any curse words. He wasn't sassing this guy back. This guy says, maybe do some one-on-one training sessions. Every time you play, we have 1 player less. And Mudryk said, fine, you want me to do 1v1 training sessions? I will 1v1 train against you. How do you like that? And then the guy seemed clearly surprised that you got a response, right? You send this sort of message expecting the recipient to be a brick wall, right? This is the sort of message you send if you're a fan and you're really upset and you have no friends to talk to about it, because you're this type of person. And so you just send a DM to a player. Like what contribution is this providing? Like sending this message to Mykhailo Mudryk, what are you accomplishing? What's the goal? What is the goal? Like if you have vision beyond the next 5 seconds, right? Like if you think forward into the future at all, the only potential effect of this DM is negative because you're just dumping all over the guy. You're dumping all over the guy who plays for your team, who you want to do well. What's the point of this DM? But clearly we're surprised that there's a response. Bro, at this point, I will personally give you money every time you score. We are all Chelsea fans here, and I deal with the players and sort their stuff out. But come on, man. You have Everton. What? We are all Chelsea fans here, and I deal with the players and sort their stuff out. But come on, man. Is Fedor Sneak some sort of person that works with the club? Honestly. And if that's the case, posting this exchange is 100 times more cringe. If this is somebody that like Mykhailo Mudryk follows, then this becomes so much more cringe. Mudryk only follows 25 people, so they don't follow this person as much as they're trying to create a feeling of familiarity. Maybe they work in some way around the club, but just they're trying to insinuate that, like, okay, so you work around the club, you're like, oh, I work with all the Chelsea players, I'm trying to make it seem better, but now all of a sudden, then you have Everton next, and then Mudryk just goes, are you good at football? You're telling me I'm bad, are you good? And the guy goes, score for us, please. And that's it. And then apparently that exchange, where Mykhailo Mudryk came in 100 times lower than the energy this person brought in the initial message, and they take the, oh, this is a bridge too far. I don't regret texting him this anymore. Chelsea FC, we need answers. You don't regret texting him that anymore? Why? You look like an even bigger idiot. You just posted this to everybody. How is Mudryk in the wrong here? You messaged him very aggressively. He responded very composed, in my opinion. Just having some fun, maybe letting some steam off, being like, you know what, this asshole, this is the asshole I'm gonna get back, right? I don't regret texting him anymore. So you sent it, and then you were like, I don't believe that for a second. No. That you're looking for your 5 seconds of fame. Mykhailo Mudryk responded to you, and that was probably like the greatest moment of your life. Not probably, because this response is completely banal, but it's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to you. So you've decided that you're going to send it out to the entire world. You've tagged Chelsea like, yo, you've got to control your boy. No, Chelsea has to control you. They need to get you to shut up. They need to get you to leave their players alone. What are you doing? Anybody that sends messages like this, what is the goal? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. Love that Mudryk did this. I wish more players would do this. I know some others do. This is a great way to handle this situation. Matched it at a much lower energy. If Mudryk had given this person back the same amount of energy that this person put into those initial DMs, I'm pretty sure this person would have they would have fainted. They wouldn't have been able to handle it. If this reply warrants like sending this to Chelsea, like, oh, you got to control your player. If they had replied with the same sort of message that you sent Mudryk, what are you appealing to the UN? The Geneva Convention? Like, what are you appealing to? Just don't be this person. Don't send DMs like this to athletes, man. Just cheer for your team. See ya.